you can't hide. Talking all that trash, it's got your tongue tied. We king in the window, we'll start till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us nameless, I'm missing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, the chanting our names, and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Can't stop us when we go in. Kings and queens are folding. There's something in our touch. Feel the rush, yeah, we're golden. Sending out a message, leave them in the wreckage. Unbreakable, powerful forces not to mess with. We keep it a win, we'll fight till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us famous, I'm losing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, the chanting our names, and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens.
Bad girls can't be good. I come alive playing with fire. Skin is bulletproof. Hands on the gun, heart on the wire. My finger runs on the blade, but I can't feel the pain. The darkness runs through my veins. You know I love the taste. Bad girls can't be good. You better run, 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 cause you know I'm coming for you now. You better run, 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 cause you know I'm gonna take you down. I am the nightmare from all of your dreams. You get no mercy from me. You better run, 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 run while you can. Run, run, run while you can. Welcome to my world. Out of the shadows I wanna rise. You get what you deserve. Pay for your sins, redemption is mine. You thought that I would give up, thought I would give in. You should've known I was tough, known that I would win. Welcome to my world. You better run, 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 cause you know I'm coming for you now. You better run, 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 cause you know I'm gonna take you down. Your dreams, you get no mercy from me. You better run, 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 run while you can. Run, run, run while you can. Welcome to my world.
People literally watch you mad because they're like, damn, I could never do what they do. I don't have the courage. I don't have the balls. I damn sure don't have the and speak the truth like they do. to be so raw and authentic like they are. So I'm going to hate on them instead. We got the 10 of Wands. Because, like, no matter how fucking hard it is, dude, it would have been over for anybody else. Like, it would have been fucking over for them. They'd have put the fucking swords down and fucking walked away a long time ago. And it's like, you're collecting everybody's weapons that they're bringing to the fight. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to take that for myself. And I'm going to use it against you later. Keep fucking attacking me. I fucking dare you. I'm writing my story. I'm the one with the magic. I'm the one with the power. Keep coming for me. You're going to be fucked in the end. I'm telling you, people are watching you and they're like, damn, dude, the strength and the courage that it takes to go through what they have to go through on a daily fucking basis and trust and believe it's a matter of time before they watch you fucking succeed. Before they watch you get public recognition for your challenges and your fucking struggles, dude. It's just a matter of fucking time, or they already are. And then we've got the King of Cups and we've got the World card. It's almost like you carry yourself like so grounded and so balanced and so mature when it comes to your feelings and your emotions. You have ignore her. You have every reason to be an emotional fucking wreck, dude. Every fucking reason, and yet you're holding it down. We've got the Knight of Wands in the reverse. When they would be crashing out, right? They would be fucking out of control, fucked up, crashing the fuck out, dude. And you make shit look so fucking.
Welcome back. I'm Alisha Quinn. And today we are having a show with Tay Lynch. She is a spirit guide who helped me when I was leaving Washington State. So we are going to talk with her and I'm going to share my truth, my experiences, things I know. I am a divine being having a human experience. And so let's go ahead and get her on here, and we are going to share both our stories with one another and have some questions. Well, welcome, Tay. I am so excited to have you on my show and share my journey with you and how you helped me make one of the biggest moves of my life to help me get ahead in this game of life, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to start sharing my story. I was born in a very domestic violence home for the first 4 years of my life. And I was also being sexually abused by my grandfather. And when I was 9, that all came out. And right after I turned 10 years old, I was in a courtroom and put him away in prison. He'd been doing that stuff for over probably about 30 years. And, as I grew up, I became very sexually active as a teenager and stuff, and went through that whole scene and eventually kind of ended up in drugs a little bit. And then I, wanted to change my life and things. Well, actually before that, I'm sorry. In the summer of 2001, I had a vision when I was 23 years old. It was leaving the Pacific Northwest, because I lived in the Pacific Northwest all my life. That's where I was born at. And so, I thought about that vision for years, but then 9/11 happened. I was in the drug thing, had my drug boyfriend, wanted to change. So in June of the next year, got rid of the boyfriend, got into a religion, found a church to go to. And I got in there. I was in there a few years. And then, I wanted to have children and stuff, had to get married. I found a husband. He was 23 years older than me. But we had kids. I was 29. He was 52 when we got married. And we had our children. They're very spread apart. One in 2008, one in 2015, girl and a boy. My daughter's the oldest. And, as we kind of, headed into those years after my son was born, there were some things that kind of started really happening. Really questioning even like the world and the religion, because it was kind of like, well, religion says it's this way, but then things are this way. And so I really questioned that stuff. Then I met a friend at the park, and she studied the Bible. She became a Christian, and she didn't feel comfortable going to our church. And we blacklisted her because she would not go to our church. She said some pretty nasty things, but she was kind of right too.
So we, as in the
My
church.
husband and I, especially,
Oh, okay.
because she was at our house all the time. It's just one of those jarrings.
Right.
Like what kind of person am I being? You know? And there was really this like division, like we're better than the neighbors, we're better than the people down the road who have a different sign on their building and these things. So then the following year in 2019, right after my daughter turned 11 years old, there was this one day where we went to the fair and stuff, but he was yelling at our daughter right in public. And after two times, I was like, I'm not dealing with this out in public. And we left and we went home. And there was another uh, big fight with those two. And I decided to leave. And it's very interesting because as I was out and I was sitting in a parking lot, I seen this thunderstorm, this lightning storm, unlike anything I had ever seen in the Pacific Northwest. I never had seen something like this before, and I never seen it afterwards. But that was really this beginning of this tiff that began between my husband and my daughter. And in 2020, just before the shutdown, I left out of there with my two kids for one night. I went to another Christian's home because I was trying to speak to him about some of the behavior that was going on. He was picking up chairs to throw at our daughter, and I was having to intervene in those things. And so the next day, I was prodded to, go back and do counseling, and I agreed. And then the COVID shutdown happened. And that was a huge jarring for me. I just was like, they have had all these viruses and now they're shutting down over this one. So I started getting on my computer and asking what was going to happen after COVID. And I started coming across all this information, which people would consider conspiracy theories, right?
Right.
Which, led me down this road of really awakening to the world, but then also the religious system. What really got to me was the flat earth. That's when I was like, how in the world did the church go along with this? And I had tried to talk to my husband about a few of these things. I got him to watch like the Out of Shadows movie, and he was just like, I don't get it. And then when I tried to talk to him about flat earth, and, I just asked these questions that I was kind of opening my mind up to, and then the responses back just did not make any sense. And so I quit really talking to him about it. He even brought me to the elders about the flat earth thing, and they told me it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's my opinion. But anyhow, I ended up As I was going along, so, we did this marriage counseling and I really was awakening to him. And then we came to a conclusion by the end of the late year to stop. I had come to realize that he didn't compromise. I compromised all the way to him, and he didn't compromise at all. It was kind of his way or the highway. And so the skills that we were taught, which was to compromise, I couldn't do it with him. And so we quit counseling, and then in early 2021, I left again for a day and was prodded, by Christians to go back and do counseling. So we started counseling again with a different person in the church. And we had done this throughout our whole marriage, this in and out of counseling. And then in early June, he had a mini stroke. And things really changed for us then. And I was just in this rock and hard place. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with the fighting between him and her? How do I get out of the church system? All these things, right? And I knew I could not get out with him. And as I was listening to these podcasters and they'd say, don't do any dates, don't do any dates. But I kept on having this date pop in my mind. 12/12/21. I just couldn't get out of my mind. It was just like, there should just be something that happens that day. And there were other incidents with my husband where he knocked out our daughter's tooth. He yanked out my son's tooth. And the elder especially that was counseling us, pretty much, his words was that he would come there every day if he had to keep the peace between us. He was just bound and determined to keep us together. Didn't care really about what was going on with the kids and stuff, or me. And, things happened. And on 12/12/21 was the day that I left that man out of there with my 2 children and went to my parents' house 2 counties over to the Lake Stevens area. Restarting. I went down that path. It took me 6.5 months to get our own apartment. It was a nice little townhouse apartment. And then the Monday before Thanksgiving, Robert had a major stroke.
And that's the husband, correct?
That was the husband, yes. He had a major stroke. He was in the hospital exactly 1 month. He told them that he was abandoned by his wife of almost 15 years. But I did leave this out. I need to backtrack. In the summer, that summer of 2021, after he had his mini stroke, I did get guided to looking into narcissism, and he was a narcissist. He didn't take any responsibility or accountability, not even with the kids. Even when he yanked out our son's tooth, it was his fault. So anyhow, and he ended up dying exactly 2 months to the date. He had that major stroke on November 21st. He died on January 21st, 2023. And as that process happened, he left a few men in the church to punish me and my children by
I
keeping
knew that was coming. I could feel it.
keeping his possessions. The preacher man, Dick the preacher, was the beneficiary of a $50,000 life insurance. And he kept that, asking me to pay Robert's bills and his cremation. But Robert was accidentally cremated. The guy's name was Ronald Quinton. And my husband's name was Robert Quinn. So it was very close. It was just coincidental. It just happened. So everything was paid for. I hardly went to his service because of all the BS,
Right.
but I did. And to this day, I take it very symbolic that the last time I stepped foot in a church building was for his service. And after talking to a lawyer and, figuring that it wasn't worth pursuing anything legal because, it wasn't, they said if it was like 200,000, it would be more worth it. So,
Right.
he didn't have much, but what he had, he kept a whole, he used it, against not only me, but his children. And so I was guided to, because I was going to do a message on Facebook. And I had this voice that said, because I was like, if nothing happens legally, I could just make a post on Facebook. And that day, I was like, oh, I could just make that post. And there was this voice inside me that said, no, Alisha, just wait. And I kind of let it go. I didn't even think about it. And the day before Memorial Day, I woke up and it was like, it's time to write that message. And I wrote that message that I was done with the church. And shortly after that, I got a message that I would be in a relationship. And I was like, no, after everything I'd gone through.
Right.
But I kind of knew from Robert because when I had wanted to get married, the one thing I wanted was a strong Christian man. And I felt that I had that. I mean, he made sure that we followed the rules unless they included him breaking the rules. But, we had to be there when the church doors were open and all these things, right? And so I started doing this evaluation on this guy I was looking for. So I have this whole story, which I'm going to release later, and it's called The Guy Friend, The Mystery Man, The Podcaster, The Guy at Wendy's, and Alex. And this all leads me down this road where on an awakened group on Facebook, I end up, connected with this guy in Nigeria. Ronald was his name. And Ronald wanted something with me fairly quickly, and that was kind of one of my things. And so I end up discovering that Ronald is 23 years old. He's in Nigeria. And I go down this road with him. We agreed that he was my healing partner. We agreed that he was going to be the ending story for my book, because I had been led to my book. And I do need to backtrack on one thing. That after me going on and saying I was done with the church as well, a couple months before I left Robert in 12/12/21, my stomach got very hard, my upper stomach. And I had come to a point where I was going to need to get this checked out and figure out what was going on. So during the summer of 2023, I was also in the process of finding out that I had 2 very large fibroid tumors in my stomach. Surgery was going to have to be done. And as I went through that summer and my evaluation on this man and my life, just really, I started seeing all this movement happen in my life. And that surgery was on 9/11/23. So I go down this road with Ronald towards the end of 23 and beginning of 2024, where we get involved in a marriage visa agreement. He was going to come and be with me and my kids. I proposed to him on the 1st of 2024. And there was just all these checks, check, check, check. I just was like, I was just like, he's a needle in a haystack. Then I'm like, it is mathematically impossible. I am not supposed to be with this guy or deal with him. I wasn't quite sure. And after, one of the kickers was the last guy, the guy at Wendy's. I had this sit down talk with him. His name was Quentin. So in the middle of January was when I reflected back to Robert's passing away and recalled that that guy's name was Ronald Quentin.
Right.
So Quentin was the guy at Wendy's, and it was hours after I dropped his number on my phone, I was connected with Ronald over in Nigeria. But there was just stuff like my first husband was African, but he was here. And he was from Gambia, which is like the opposite side from Nigeria and Africa. It was just all these like opposite things with this guy. I just couldn't like figure that. I was kind of like, I was doing my inner work and healing, and I kind of like looking at this thing in a high perspective, but then I was kind of like in it on a lower level. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but then after I proposed to him, all these things started happening. He started backing off from me. Um, he made this very interesting post on my birthday saying how he wanted to be adopted. He had all these women followers, and we talked about that and stuff. There was huge issues with my family and me being with this guy. But when I really thought about it, I felt that there was going to be a problem with anyone I was going to be with,
Right.
because of everything with Robert and just my past and stuff with these men and stuff. So then there was this February 23rd event where all this stuff happened. I had made an agreement with my mother that we would not talk about Ronald. Ronald made another post on the February 23rd and hid comments from me a second time, and I called him out on it. Then he lied to me. I busted him lying for me. I thought we were going to be done. I reached out on the same group that we were on. I made 2 guy connections. And then, so then, Ronald showed me the comments that he was hiding from me. My daughter reached out to one of the women. She said that they were just friends, but she also said, that's weird. I really felt later on that he got ahead of me on that one.
Like
But
told the women
no,
to.
no, the woman said that they were just friends. My daughter reached out to her asking what their relationship was, and she said they were just friends. Friends. But then he was talking to her. He showed me it because she told him that my daughter had messaged her. But she said, that's weird. So I think that he got ahead of me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
you.
Because he knew that he showed me the women in their comments. But so at this point, I really wasn't sure. This is the point that I said, if he has BS, he's not coming here. Because I kind of wasn't quite sure, he's saying that I had nothing to worry about, and this and that, he's just small talking, right? So the 2 guys that I made a connection with, One of them, I kind of just quit talking to him. He quit, there was nothing else. The other guy tried to talk to me. His name was Sam. I blew Sam off. Okay. So then on March 1st, I got a confirmation. I was led back to listening to this podcaster that I had gone through this evaluation with. He helped me with a trauma healing from beards, which stemmed from my grandfather. And he also helped me with some religious trauma because Ronald was involved in church and going to church every Sunday. So I was led back to him, and this is when I got confirmation because of the guest he had on his show, where I was 100% sure I was supposed to at least deal with Ronald. This guy, I hadn't seen him in quite some time, and he said, and this guy had shaved. That was my beard confirmation. And I was like, I'm 100% sure. I wasn't quite sure if I was supposed to be with him. So all through March, I'm like, I'm ready to get this show on the road. And this Ronald's like, I'm ready to get this show on the road too. And I take him down to April 3rd, where I heard this song in the store, The Tide is High. Sent him that song. He said, I love the song. Send me another message back. Next message, I said, I'm ready to file immigration papers. And he ghosted me. And 3 days later, on April 6th, was his birthday. And I sent him the message I had planned on sending him. And it pricked his heart. And he sent me back a message saying, I can't figure you out. And
Talk about projection. Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Just saying.
So that with that comment, this dark cloud just unveiled on me. And I could see that he was using me for a green card, that I, on a spiritual level, had prepared for him and hunted his butt down online to the other side of the world. And I got this little vision in my mind of this chessboard that pretty much everyone in my life was in place but him. And I don't do very well with lying. I gave him fair enough warnings on that. And that's when I declared spiritual warfare on his butt. I didn't care if I had to come back in another life to deal with it. So I go on this road, letting him go. And Mother's Day, these set of events start going where the guy Sam messaged me. I let Ronald know what he was involved in with me. It's this whole thing. I have the whole podcast out there. Anyone can go take a look at it. But it leads me down a road that, with the help of Ronald's girl, I got that Sam account shut down. It was Ronald's fake account. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I'm watching this thing. I'm totally guided on it. And got that account shut down.
I was not expecting that.
I
was not expecting that. That was the big boom.
What are the chances that I would be connected with two guys in Nigeria with the same headboard? You talk about little. I was like, what the hell is this? Let's try to figure this out. And I saw that Sam account all over that awakened group while him and I were together and when he was with his girl.
So, question.
Okay.
And you might get to this in your part of the story.
Okay.
But do you ever feel like this is connected to the church? As in, like, this was a planned or coordinated attack on you?
Yes, in some ways I do see that. I do see that. On that level, I did see that. But see, Ronald is also, I also, when that happened, which kind of unveiled more things even about myself, is that I've had two issues in my life. Crappy men and men with dick problems, and a lot of them are up in religion. My first husband was a Muslim. I watched it with the Muslim guys when I was a teenager. I was involved in the Mormon church. I mean, I wasn't even raised in religion. And so it's just like, so I really seen that, there is a case against religion and these men and their dick problems. Because upon Robert dying, I found out that not only was he screwing around on me, he asked every woman around our family. And my mom withheld that from me until he was on his deathbed. Every woman approached her and told her the same thing. He approached my sister every single time that he would do something with them. He was using his business, and he also was a pedophile that ran and hid up in the church system for over 40 years.
I believe it.
Yeah. And I didn't find out until he was dying. And so I came to see who I had been. I chose this life, and I chose to come in here and play the game in the dark among these people and play these parts. Because the thing is that what you give out, you get back. And when you're lying and BSing, you can't use Jesus Christ or something else to cover that BS up. Guess what? You get somebody to come in and teach your butt a lesson. And that's what happened with Ronald. And that's the part that I have been playing. And I after that, started getting these messages on Facebook that were very fitting, including having someone who was trying to contact me on the other side. And a male, and it all signaled Robert. It was the letter J, which is, our son's name starts with a J. July. Robert's birthday was in July. The letter R. All these things that signaled Robert. But in one of them, it said the letter M. And I was trying to figure out, what's the letter M for? Couldn't figure out. So on June 23rd, I was doing my book thing, right? I was going through this thing, trying to figure out what my book was about and stuff, right? Writing my life story and all these things that I've done. And there was something that I had been avoiding taking care of. And I called this person to take care of it on June 23rd. And then I also told my new story about how I came in here to put Grandpa Cal away in prison. I chose that journey. He taught me a lot about sex, and he was the first boy I taught a big fat lesson to. And after that, I went on Facebook and I got this message. It had just been posted 8 minutes. And the first paragraph said that the guy's name was listed as Robert something, but he went by Bobby. That's the first paragraph. He goes by Bobby. His fiance died in his arms in 2021. And he'd been going through this spiritual awakening since. And he wakes up with this profound knowledge, and he had gotten this message with the letter M in it. And this grabbed my attention. And it was all about creating peace and unity. That was the message. All right, we had some technical issues, so we are back and we are going to continue on here. So, the next day on June 24th, I took that message about peace and unity and made a video and put it out on YouTube and my Facebook. I started getting this very intense energy upon me that night. And the next morning on, it was Tuesday, June 25th, I pretty much woke up just like any other day, really, except for I just was having this very intense energy on me. And I went to work to DoorDash and stuff. And I ended up getting an order that took me to this woman's house. And a lot of times I would not see the DoorDash customers or anything, but this woman met me at the door and I knew her. She was connected with my family. She's a religious person. And she ended up giving me a message that she thought the rapture was coming soon. And the next order took me away from the Lake Stevens area, about 20 to 30 minutes away. And as I got away, I really all of a sudden just kind of saw that everything was in line and it was time for me to get the hell out of there. I had the renewal of my lease coming up. I don't even think I had signed it. And I had received 2 unexpected food cards. Number 1 was cut off of food stamps, and number 2, they cut off the COVID stuff for food stamps. So I had just received these 2 food cards, and it was just kind of like it was time to get out of there. And I had been prepared for this road trip. Everything was in order to just leave. So after that order, I turned off the DoorDash, went home, got my kids, packed up whatever I couldn't live without, and we left out of there. We headed south. I kind of already knew, it was kind of like, what way do I go? And it was like, head south, because of that vision I had. And so I started heading south. I got halfway to Olympia and we stopped and to take a bathroom break at a gas station. And I'm just like, what the hell am I doing, And I opened up the Facebook and it was you. And it said, those motherfuckers are afraid of you. Keep going. And so I kept going. And, as I headed south and stuff and through Olympia, I started feeling a lot better and stuff. Like I was leaving something. And, when I had gone through that vision 23 years before this, I didn't know who was in my car. I had wondered that for years, and it was because they were not born at that time. And the second thing is that I had no idea where I was going. And when I went through it, I had no idea where I was going.
Right.
And so I headed south towards Oregon, and I was trying to reach out to some podcasters that were in the truth movement to try to help me. The one podcaster that I had done this evaluation, with, pretty much used him, and did that evaluate, or, he was part of that and the healing and stuff that I did from him. Um, I had contact with him and I had his number, and I had sent him my video about creating peace and unity. He asked me, "What do you want me to do with this?" And I was just kind of like, "Well, I wanted you to share it." And I don't believe he ever shared that video. And then at one point, I was really trying to get him to help me. And I kind of had been sent something. And I ended up telling him that his girlfriend was spiritually attacking him and compromising him. And he pretty much told me that I was crazy and that I needed to go home and get counseling and therapy. And he's out here talking against the whole, medical system that we have.
Right.
And so, but I had a lion in my corner and they said, let's keep going. So I checked into a room in Oregon. And the next morning, we went back to Washington, got food, and headed east. And as I headed through Idaho, it hit me to go to my former husband's sister's house, Ernestine, in Minnesota. Her and I had been talking for a few years. She had told me one time, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. I'd give you anything, that I have, pretty much. So we headed to Minnesota, and I did not tell anybody that I had left Washington State. I was very adamant about not letting anybody know. And when I got to Ernestine's, I talked to her, told her my truth, and that I was writing this book. You're going to use Robert's story, and that, pretty much I wasn't like the victim, kind of thing. And that we got some rest. And then the next morning, she had talked to me about, talking to somebody, And so I was like, well, I have a counseling session this morning, that I wasn't going to go on, but we could go on there. And so I went on there, talked to my counselor, told her that I left Washington State, and kind of why. And she ended up talking to Ernestine and told Ernestine that I was on the level. And and then I said my goodbyes. And as I said my goodbyes, my phone was kind of glitching out. So after that call, I went and took a shower. And before I got dressed, when I got out of the shower, there was a knock on the door. And I cracked the door open, and it was the police. And so I got dressed, went outside to talk to the police. And I asked him one question, and I just zipped my mouth. I wouldn't say anything. I was like, everything's fine. And he left. I talked to these three women, Ernestine, her daughter, and her granddaughter, in the front yard. They all denied calling the police on me. I'm like, you don't find it weird that not a soul knows I left Washington State and the police just showed up here for me? So I left my kids there and headed out. And I ended up stopping at a store before I left out of Minnesota. I seen this guy with this very weird earpiece that was in his ear, like a microphone that went down. And I was, at this point, I was quite paranoid about being followed and stuff. And I'm really like looking at people and, paranoid in the bathroom and stuff. And so I end up where I was driving around and I really felt like I was being followed. I seen some kind of interesting, weird things, people stopping when I turned and all kinds of, driving past me as I wrote up a message. I wrote up a message, put it out on YouTube and Facebook, asking for help and stuff too. And then I looked up 3 places, turned off my phone, and just drove. And as I'm driving, my phone tried turning on by itself, which I quickly turned back off. So I ended up at a gas station off the highway in Illinois. And I ended up just turning on my phone and just sat there and waited. So I seen some cars show up. I had a van on the other side of the handicap, 2 black men. They just got out and they just stood over there. And then I seen this guy come up. He was right in front of my car, right in front of the store, smoking a cigarette. And he was the guy with the earpiece that I had seen back in Minnesota, and I was in Illinois. So at that point, I got fairly panicked and got out of there. I had about 3 cars follow me out of there. One pulled up on the side of me. I waved them to get on the freeway because I knew they were trying, that they wanted to follow me. So I let them go in front of me. They were in a turn lane, and I waved them to get in front of me. So as I got on the freeway, I started calling the police, and they directed me to go to the hospital. So I ended up in the hospital. They wanted me to check in. I had the police there come do a police report. There was this guy at the counter. Every single time I was on the phone, he was fretting. Ernestine even told me she was calling me, and why didn't you answer your phone? I'm like, they're messing with me, And so the police officer, when he left my room, he talked to that guy and he said, make sure you take care of her. And so after I talked to my mother, and she informed me that Ernestine had put my kids in custody, state custody, I was at that breaking point where I had lost everything, including my children that I fought so hard for to leave Robert with, because he had me in a tight hold that nobody was to leave the marriage with the kids. And I got power over that like 3 months before I left him. And so my mother said, Alisha, get yourself some help. And so I checked in there. And as I was in there, my children were flown from Minnesota back to Washington State to be with my parents because Ernestine couldn't handle them. And I ended up finding out that Ernestine and her family, it was actually her daughter, had actually called the police on me. And the doctor in there said that when people lie to you, it can glitch your mind up. And so Washington State I ended up getting out of the hospital and stuff. I had met one young man, Joshua, in there. He had talked about going out to eat somewhere. And when I got out of there, I contacted him, and he ended up taking me back to the same gas station where I had been followed.
In Minnesota?
In Illinois.
Okay.
In Illinois. He took me back to the same gas station, and as I drove him back home, was talking to him about it. He said that he thought I was kind of, had just kind of made the whole thing up pretty much. And
Do you
so
think he took you there intentionally to play with your mind? Or was it coincidental?
I believe it was coincidental. It was a place that he had worked at.
Okay.
And so he had some issues from that place as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And so my kids ended up being flown from Washington State to Illinois, and we made our way to the North South Carolina area through because my daughter had a contact that we were pretty much everything was, not open to me pretty much. And so we came down to this area. And as I came down here, I really had this like intense, I still had this energy kind of upon me. And I just couldn't figure out what was going on. I had this pressure right here. And we ended up in a motel, and I just woke up in the middle of the night, and it was just like, something is wrong. I have to go back to the hospital. And I knew that I was going to have to put my kids in state custody. I had no one else to take care of them. And that was a very hard and dark time for me. I later found out that that whole month of really what I went through was a dark night of the soul and ego death.
Mm-hmm.
While I was in the hospital, I begged God to take my life. But when I was in there, I also met someone who did my name, and both my married name and my maiden name came up to the number 8. And when I got out of there, I ended up in a shelter. And when I was in there, I kind of watched something. There was a virus outbreak from that virus that shut down the world,
Mm-hmm.
And I watched how the women that fretted over it the most got the sickest. And in fact, 2 women were taken out of there in one night because of having that virus. And one was sleeping next to me, and I was just like, don't worry about it. I got divine intervention. I ended up at a beautiful house, shelter house with, a bunch of women. It was definitely a lot better than the first shelter. But I didn't tell them anything about that virus, and nobody got sick. And pretty much, I, came through where I was, I did a lot of evaluations. I went through this whole like Job thing. And then I was led to the story of Joseph. And then I was led to Lot's wife. Don't look back at what you've lost, but what God has for you in the future. And I had a few things I had to do to get my kids back. One was get a job, and I got that job on the 10th of September. Almost 1 year after my surgery. Was not where I thought I would be, but I did break free, from bondages by leaving Washington State, and I know that. I spent the rest of 2024 really evaluating reality and things. And I, came through to really knowing, doing my healing and stuff and coming to know why I've gone through everything I've gone through in my life and what I'm here to do. And, as I had come to this pivotal moment after I got out of the hospital and the medication I was on was running me such havoc, I didn't even know what to do with myself. I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand. I tried to tell them in the hospital, they let me out. My story is out there, but I came to this pivotal moment where it was like I couldn't take the medication. and that it was time for me to get myself together, build my life here, and serve my purpose of writing my life story. And I had so many messages, even in the hospital here, to write my story and tell my story. Write about it. Write about it. You should write a book. I'm like, you know, like this much. You know? And I know that one of those people were you that said, tell your story. And by the end of the year, I was guided to starting podcasting to tell my story of 2024, and then to writing my awakening story, which I have the videos of 2020, 21, and 22 out, and I'm working on 23.
Good for you. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and play these videos, and then we'll come back and have you share some of your story.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, spirit guides, what's the message for these guys? Let's go. 90 seconds. We've got the hangman with the temperance, so you've been spiritually awakened. All right. The death card, yeah, you've survived your initiation. You've gone through a lot of changes. You're awakening to the truth. You're going through a lot of enlightenment here. 7 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and I'm telling you right now, you are divinely protected. So fear, shit like that, let go of it. You weren't supposed to survive what you went through. You weren't supposed to survive. They wanted you dead, and you should have been. Other than the fact that God was never going to let that happen because you were built for the attack. Okay, you are stronger than most people because you're here to inspire and heal the masses. And you had to go through some fucked up shit and overcome some fucked up shit so you could help the next person overcome it too. Justice comes out here with the 10 of Pentacles, and you are here to leave a legacy. You're here to build some big shit. And I promise you, everything these people have done to you is going to be exposed. It's going to be made right and fair in your life, and you have shit to do. All right? It's time to boss up. You've taken leadership and control of your life, and this is the season and the cycle of life where you win. You're chosen. If you're feeling stuck and stagnant in life, the best way for you to actually gain forward movement is for you to let go of the people that are holding you back. If you are somebody that is putting in a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, you are staying extremely consistent, and you can't get anywhere, and you are always finding yourself at a rock bottom again, you have sneaky, deceptive, cunning, and conniving people in your fucking energy. And if you want to get out of that fucking rut, you have to take the leap of faith. You have to bet on yourself, and you have to leave these people behind because they are keeping you stuck. They are keeping you in bondage. They are keeping you bound and going back and fucking forth. And 4 of Cups, it's like you're so bored and unfulfilled in your fucking life, and you're not getting anything out of it that you're putting back. And it's because there's sneaky ass people doing to keep you stuck and bound secretly behind the scenes, and then they're causing you to doubt yourself. 111 on the timestamp here. All right, it's going to come to a point where God has to show you this. He has to make you see this, and it's going to hurt you. It's going to make you sad. It's going to make you grieve. Hell, you might even lose everything for one final time, but it'll be the last time because you're going to let these people go. You're going to rebuild. And
Yes, I was definitely spiritually attacked, and everyone in my life was tested. And I think one thing I did not mention was that whole February 23rd event. I had meant to mention that. The same time that things were happening with Ronald, and he ended up shutting his Facebook account down. My parents had taken my daughter out behind my back and was asking about Ronald. They were tested.
how old is your daughter?
Several times, huh?
If you don't mind me asking that on this, how old is your daughter?
Oh, at that time she was 15 at that time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah. So, but I broke free from bondage leaving Washington State and the whole little Ronald deal. He helped me break free from a something that had been put upon me, and I do believe it was by God. And I had just, I had gotten messages that Ronald was my last soul contract and stuff. But that whole deal took off a curse that I had on me about being naive. And I do not have that anymore. So, doing the inner work pays off. So anyhow, so I would like for you to go ahead and share some of your story because I have not really heard your story. I've just heard bits and pieces of it, really. So I'd like to hear your story.
Okay. I'd be more than happy to. So I'll make it short. Um, I want to start back when I was in high school. I was a straight A student. I was a star athlete. And all I ever wanted was love. And so I overworked and I excelled. I wanted my dad to be proud of me. I didn't really have my mom growing up. Um, so I gave everything I had and everything that I did just to get love. Never really received it in the ways that I expected to. So, anyways, I ended up getting pregnant at 16. And by the time I was 20 years old, I was a full blown drug addict, about as hardcore as you could be into the lifestyle. I got mixed up in all of the wrong crowd, around all of the wrong people, and I struggled in and out of addiction my entire adult life. And so, anyways, in 2018, I ended up it was 2019, I think, actually. I ended up getting 2018. I don't remember, dude. I ended up getting arrested for a DUI. I think it was in 2018, March of 2018. I ended up getting arrested, getting in all this trouble, all this legal trouble. I ended up cleaning up my life, and the father of my two children and I ended up buying a house, getting great jobs, nice car. Like we had stability and each other, and our children had stability for the first time in our entire connection. Um, so, anyways, we got to enjoy that for like a year and a half, and then things just started to really fall apart at home. He started to detach from the family, started to go out after work and drink all of the time. And it was like really triggering those childhood wounds of like, I'm giving everything, all of myself to this man, and he doesn't even care, you know? Um, and I ended up relapsing. So, anyways, then we go into like 2022, and my whole world falls apart. I find him talking to another girl. She's pregnant. I start spinning out thinking he had a baby with her on me. It just, my whole world fell apart. And I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my family. My family fell apart. Our house got destroyed. The domestic violence inside of that home was just something straight out of a horror film. All of my friends were turning on me. Everybody was turning against me because I come to figure out later that my in-laws were plotting on me to get rid of me. So it really woke me up to the evil that exists in this world it was my dark night of the soul as I'm looking around and realizing that everybody that I thought loved me doesn't. And that the people that I thought were my number one supporters were my biggest enemies. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I couldn't even recognize the person that I was. And So that was the whole year of 2022, and the story's a lot more intense. There's so many details, but I don't know if you want me to go into all of it. Probably not, but my whole
Is it
year
is
was
it kind
hell.
of
I
like
wasn't.
is it kind of like all your fears just coming
Yes,
about?
100%. I had to face
Yeah, yeah,
every fear that I ever had.
yeah.
And it was brutal. People didn't want me to survive. I was a victim of satanic ritual abuse. They were trying to take me out, force me to take myself out. I mean, it's just so intense. So much black magic and gang stalking and targeting and confusion, the confusion behind all of it when you're experiencing it. So, and that was the whole year of 2022. And then going into 2023, I had the time and space to heal myself. The father of my children and me, we had to go no contact due to legalities. Couldn't talk for 4 months, and I cut everybody off. I got myself off the dope, and I cleaned myself up and started to heal my wounds and started getting really connected to like tarot cards and spirituality, and bought me a deck and ended up learning how to read and building social media platforms, and got to where I am today. It was all definitely divinely guided and divinely orchestrated. I lived in southern Idaho when I went through all of that. I've relocated myself down here to Texas, came here with a suitcase full of clothes, my two kids, my dog, and I completely rebuilt my life from rock bottom, and I'm slaying it as a single mom, two kids, a spiritual mentor, a coach, a guide, and just really living my absolute best life. So,
Amazing.
me
Amazing.
in a nutshell.
That's amazing. Well, I'm truly grateful for you being out there, and putting yourself out there because, not only, getting the messages that I've gotten, but, encouraging me to put myself out there too, to serve my purpose, because people can learn something and, this world is just something, And I think that's part of the attacks is that you start changing your transmitters and it's energy and they can feel it. And so they go against you. And really when you're in the dark, everybody's your rival. And
Absolutely.
that's the truth. And so making a change. Change is good.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I would like to go ahead and share this video that you put out and this message, and I just really resonated with it, but I think it's very fitting for this time and for you.
Do you guys ever look back at your life and realize the amount of that you used to tolerate? Because I sure as hell do. And I am so grateful for growth because I'm no longer that version of me. If you cannot tell me the truth, if you cannot take accountability for your if you cannot apologize when you have done me dirty, if you cannot communicate like a whole adult, then I don't need you here, right? I'm not going to beg you to stay in my life. I damn sure am not going to make an effort to talk to you. I'm not going to beg you to be here. I'm not going to beg you to do right by me. And I will never again in my entire fucking life lower myself or my standards just to keep somebody around. You see, I am honest. I am just. I am fair. I always take accountability for my and I expect the exact same thing out of people that I keep in my life. And if they can't meet me there, if it cannot be an equal give and take, then I am better off without that in my life. I worked really hard on myself to get where I'm at, And I expect those people that are in my life to also be working really hard on themselves, all right, to grow in life. I don't settle for less. I expect a lot out of myself, and I also have the same expectations for the people that I keep company. And I'm not sorry about it.
I thought
Love
that
it.
was fitting. I thought it was fitting. And, it really resonated with me. Like, to truly find that love within yourself, and that, I'm not here to please other people. I mean, I did that for a long time and they were never pleased.
Yep.
You can never satisfy them because everything is from within them. And they're just, so you change and they're still not happy because they don't have that happiness within them.
Yep.
And, I really came to this point that it's like, I don't care what you think of me,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't care. And so that, my journey is my journey. And,
Absolutely.
everybody's at different levels and different stages of the game. But I came here for a change and I am the change. And, it's just crazy the way things have been going. And so, but anyhow, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And so, what is an aspect of your life that you are very proud of?
My independence,
Yes.
without question. I lived my entire life codependent on somebody else. So being able to be out here just hyper independent, thriving on my own, not in survival and codependent on somebody else, but to actually be just 100% doing it out here by myself and thriving inside of it. I am so proud of that.
Yeah.
It
That's
amazes me every day.
that is amazing. What have you wanted to do that you've hesitated to do?
Well, I've always wanted to do what I do career wise, work on online, build platforms and things like that. But excuse the ums. This was something that I was forced into though, because I never would have taken this leap of faith on myself
Yeah.
and did it because of comfort zones or self-limiting beliefs or fears. So it wasn't until my whole world was wrecked in 2022 and I didn't really have a choice but to get out here and figure it out.
Yeah. It's like sometimes God has to push you to make those moves that you need to.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
force you.
Yeah. For especially for the betterment of humanity.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what in your life now brings you the greatest sense of fulfillment?
I want to say my ability to impact others.
Yeah. Well, you definitely impacted me. You
You
know,
know,
I needed that message right at that time. And it's just amazing when you see the divine working things through and how everyone is connected. And it was just like, that was exactly what I needed at that moment.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Thank you. And what do you regret about how your life has unfolded? How are you letting that go or changing it?
So I have no regrets. And I know that that might sound cliche, but I have finally come into the acceptance of it's always unfolded exactly how it was supposed to.
Mhm.
So I guess I could say maybe I regret not seeing things that were right in front of my face or not believing people who were who they were when they showed me, right? Or forgiving time and time again, or showing fear to people, places, and things that I should have never been afraid of. But had I not gone through these experiences or these cycles, I would have never evolved into the version of myself that I am today. So there truly are no regrets. I've gotten into this place where I fully accept my story. I appreciate it. I value it. I even have gratitude for the hardest parts of it,
Yeah.
because I know that it's a mirror. Your world is a mirror, and it's just
Mhm.
reflecting back to you what's going on within.
Yes. That is definitely true. And, for me, I found that, I had to go into those energies to play the part that I played,
Yes.
but I still was in those energies. And that, really forgiving myself for like being blind and naive and looking over those things, but that I had to do that. Like, with Ernestine, see, it was funny because when I was headed out to talk to the police, she said, "Oh, I know you're mad." And then, then as I was, leaving my kids there and stuff, see, her daughter was sitting at the table and her daughter was fretting. I seen it, but I didn't let myself see it. And it's just stuff like that, I overlook, but it's truly like, forgiving myself because I did have to be the test. And sometimes I was the one sent in to flip over their tables.
Right.
And that's truly what I was sent in to do with Ernestine, was flip her table over on her delusional reality, because it's a
Yes.
delusion. And so, but the one thing that I found that I like I would do differently, what is to love myself more. That's like the one thing that I've come up with, that if I was to do anything again, love myself more.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, complete this sentence. If you really knew me, you would know blank. And. So just answer that the best you can.
That's a hard one. It's like there's so many things that I want to say, but if you really knew me, you would know that I am a child of God, and loyal, and pure, and a waymaker.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes you got to wonder when people choose to come against you. It's like, how did you not see who I was? How dare you think
Yeah.
this is going to work on me? How dare you think you're going to force me to give up? How dare you think I will not rise again? You
Yeah.
didn't know me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And one of the things that I've truly do know about me is that I know the way I play. I know the way I work. And I might let you think that you got away with something for a while, but there'll come a time that you'll find out you didn't get away with anything when it came to me.
100%.
And that's the truth. So, you know, you might think it, but I'll come back on you.
Yes.
So, usually that's how it happens, And even with my family, like, my mother, see, she didn't tell me about all these women for years, and I know why, is because they had me trapped in that delusional world, you know? Just, down low, poor bro. And and I don't, I believe she doesn't even know any better. It's just, she's programmed by the system.
Right.
And so they just don't know any better. And so, is there anyone in particular who inspired you on your journey to get you where you are today?
Oh, of course. So many. Um, I got my mentor. He was the first person that I found on social media when I was trying to come out of everything, had no money, no support. Everybody believing all this crazy stuff about me, and really scared. I was really scared. And my mentor was everything to me in the first year or so of my journey. And then I met the Trinity coach on the way with that. And my friend Ashley, I'm repping her shirt right now, the Reckoning Co. She's one of my dearest friends. And yeah, there's many, but those are the top three that I want to shout out.
Okay. And how do you create unity and peace in your life?
Well, you make sure you have it inside of yourself first.
Yes, I
So, I
agree.
mean, me personally, I love to just stay to myself.
Hmm.
I do. I stay to myself. I give and serve where I can, but you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself, you're setting boundaries, you're prioritizing self-love, self-care, rest, staying in balance with your masculine, your feminine, your shadow, your light side. And when you can do that within self, you shift the collective. You it ripples, right? Because we
Yes,
are all connected. We are all one.
yes,
So when you create that unity and peace within yourself, you are serving it out to the rest of the collective.
right. One of the things that I've discovered is that because they diagnosed me as having bipolar. So bipolar is just when you have your energy so fluctuating, up and down, and you got to find that balance. And so, everyone has a energy aura. So when you walk by, there's just like this energy exchange. And that's part of like that ripple effect, And from what's been described about my energy, because I've been told, cleanse your energy, because I'm like an octopus, I'm taking it. So like I cleanse my energy all the time, because you're taking those negative energies, those energies you walk by. And so cleansing your energy field to cleanse those energies off. And then,
Right.
when you walk by someone, they take a little bit of your energy and you take a little bit of theirs. And so, yeah. So, what kinds of things have you done to create your own reality?
Well, I mean, we all do it based on, what you think, what you believe, what you speak. But some things that I have been really working on over the last year, but really intensely over the last few months is really being mindful of how I'm speaking.
Yeah,
And this is something that people really mess up on because they want to focus on what's going on in their reality, right? Not realizing that when you do that and it's something that you don't want, the more you think about it, the more you talk about it, the more of it you're going to create.
right,
So just being very intentional that I make sure if I've got all these bills here, right, that I'm talking about how grateful I am that they're paid.
right.
Not like I don't know how I'm going to do this or this or this or this, but it's like, man,
Yeah,
I am so freaking grateful. I paid you, I paid you, I paid you, right? Like as if it's already done. And I'm very focused about staying grounded in the present moment and sitting in gratitude every day, not worrying about rent's due on the 1st, on the 25th, if I don't have the money, which by the grace of God, I haven't been in that kind of a predicament. But if so, it's like today, for now, I am safe.
yeah.
And what am I grateful for today? The lights are on, there's food in the fridge, there's gas in the car, etc., and so on. So just staying grounded in the present moment and being very mindful of what I'm thinking, what I'm speaking, and speaking out loud as if what I desire has already happened.
Right, right. I've really found that I've really working on the negative projections, down the road, and I had to, really get rid of those and and then just work on being present and that, the same thing that like I have plenty today. I have more than enough today. And really simplifying things and like really seeing how much we truly do have, which I think is part of the creation that, people are like, oh, I'll be happy when I have this, and we just get more and more and more stuff, but people are more miserable today than ever, you
Correct.
know? And it's like we need to be grateful for those simple things, like having a toilet that flushes, It's like,
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who doesn't have access to a toilet. They live on two friends, they're a couple. They
uh-huh,
live on a school bus in Arizona. Their generator went out. They're blacklisted. They can't get jobs or, you know, just the whole thing. But they have to poop in buckets
right.
and they'll empty that out on a daily basis. And anybody that has a toilet should be thankful, unless they
Yeah.
are. I mean, they
Yeah.
imagine how grateful they are when they get that toilet, and every time they go and use it, they're gonna never forget when they had to literally poop on buckets.
That's right. That's what losing everything truly made me come to, and it's kind of like, I fretted over all those little things, all, that um I had left and lost and stuff, And I ended up having one package sent to me from my mother because she did get stuff from my apartment and stuff. I kind of left her to take care of things. I had a couple cats there too. So I'm sure she was just kind of in a uprage when she found out that I had left the state and I'd been gone for a few days and they were like 7 minutes away from me. They had no idea. That's how close we were.
Right.
But I had gotten the message to start detaching and really that there would be losses. I got that message in the springtime of 2023 before leading up to my surgery and everything. So I had really gone through a process of detaching, and I really thought it was going to be more along the lines of death from the death jab. I had no idea, but I had really gone through that process to detach. But she ended up, I sent her some money and I asked for one specific thing and then, whatever like memory kind of stuff she could send me. And the one thing I asked her for was very heavy, and that's pretty much that was all I got. And when I opened up that box, I was like, nothing from the kids. I don't have, their baby books or, old things. And but I was just like, that's okay. You got exactly what you were meant to have. And that's Robert's ashes. Because I do believe that I went into the church to get his story. Because Robert has it's a very good story, you know? He has that and Robert teaches me a whole lot, like, taking care of myself. He knew how he should eat and stuff because he was a diabetic, but he wouldn't do it. And so, you know, it's victory in a sense, but then in a sense that he taught me a whole lot.
Right.
And that's the other thing is that I spent many years, I was actually like almost mad about it because I spent years recording all these motivational things that he would pick up to MP3 format on the computer. I mean, we got, he had CDs. There's probably like 150 gigabytes of the stuff. And I sat here and I was like, you know what? You have lost a lot, but you freaking got all of it. I got all of it. And I've been listening to some of it, and it's just like it has helped me so much. I mean, there's stuff on wealth, there's stuff on raising children, trauma healing, meditations for trauma healing and stuff, and so much information and stuff. Not to top off, what you can get like on YouTube and stuff.
Right.
But, I look at it like Solomon, he asked for knowledge, and he was not only, given knowledge, but um, riches too. So, there's wealth in knowledge.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. So, last question, what kinds of changes for the future do you see happening in our world?
Oh man. Well, I think things are gonna get worse before they get better. I don't know, sis. To be honest, I don't know.
I gotcha.
I mean, you hope for all of these things, right? For government, I hope we overthrow the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the
Yeah.
poor become not poor anymore and that all the
Where
animals get
everybody's,
saved.
yeah,
But I think
everybody's
that it's
taken
going to
care of.
get really rough before it gets better. And that's where I'm like, uh, I don't
I
know.
got you.
You tell me your perspective on that first, and we'll see if I ping off of it.
Um, well, I actually believe that it's just a delusional reality. It's a delusion, and that all people have to do is get out of the delusion and stop giving it their energy.
Like break out of the
And
matrix.
that's right. Live in only your own reality. Taking back your power
Correct.
and shut down all the BS. And then, what will happen is this thin glass happens, and you can actually create that new world within you. And I've seen it happen because that's what happened to me is that, I just shut it all down, and then now I, I had one group that I was a part of that I had to get rid of. They were just, in that victimized mentality, and got out of that. And then I watched how the people who have come in, which I haven't had a lot of people that I have associated with, but the ones that I have, they're not into the world, they're not, giving it their power. And I came here and I didn't even register to vote. I don't even know.
I don't do those
I don't.
things either. I'm not into politics. I'm
Yeah.
not a voter. I'm not
Yep.
into any of that.
I think that's part of taking back your power. And that uh God is the one ruling, spirit,
Yes,
that
agreed.
we are the gods
Yes.
who take back and rule over this world. But
You're
just
giving me
I
chills.
believe that you just have to change your vibration to go to a new world. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm so with you on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you for your song that that would really fit you. What is a song? And because I'm gonna close out with that song.
Underdog by Alicia Keys.
Okay. And
Okay.
why don't you go ahead and share like what exactly like you do, that people can reach out to you for.
You can find me on Instagram, The Underdog's Mentor, or Facebook, Tay Lynch. I offer mentorship, tarot readings, and just a lot of really good, valuable content on how to love yourself, see through illusions, raise your frequency, and manifest and create your best life.
All
to
right,
move
great.
forward.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing and listening to my story and how you helped me. I
Yeah,
greatly
thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it.
I
Yes,
appreciate you and I wish you the best of luck on your venture. I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
I can't wait to see what you do. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. It is amazing when you connect to spirit and the spirit world. We are all one, and we can learn and grow from each other. And so, I'm sharing my truth. We shared our truth of our journey. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to share my story with Tay because we all are connected. And I needed that message right at that time. And, I'm grateful to anyone who is listening, take what resonates with you and learn and grow from it. And I'm grateful for being alive and I'm grateful for change. Change is good. And so I am offering help with healing, trauma healing, taking your power back over your mind and these things. So if you want any help with that, you can reach out to me. I'll leave my email in the bio. And future shows, I have a show on October 15th with my continuation of my journey of 2024, which is going to be the sign that I got, So we'll talk about some of the events that took place from September 10th when I got my job to October 15th when I got a pretty good sign. It's amazing what happens. And I'm going to be releasing a part 2 of reality here by the end of this week. And I ask that you like, share, subscribe, and donate. And my links are in the bio along with my email. And I'm leaving Tay's links as well. And enjoy your day and your life because it is yours. Love you.
People desperately want you to believe that something is wrong with you when you speak your truth, you live in your truth, you walk in your truth, but really nothing is wrong with you. The truth is they are just extremely offended that you can live in your truth when they can't even face the truth about themselves. Guarantee every single person that's ever been hateful to you when you're just unapologetically you is a person that can never take accountability for anything ever, because they'd have to face the truth about who they are, and that's just something they're not willing to do. A coward will always fear the courageous, and then they'll project that fear onto you, and it's not your fucking problem, friend.
She was walking in the street, looked up and noticed he was nameless, he was homeless. She asked him his name and told him what hers was. He gave her a story about life with a glint in his eye and a corner of a smile. One conversation, a simple moment, the things that change us if we notice when we look up sometimes. They said I would never make it, but I was built to break the mold. The only dream that I've been chasing is my own. So I sing a song for the hustlers trading at the bus stop, single mothers waiting on a check to come, young teachers, student doctors, sons on the front line knowing they don't get to run. This goes up to the underdog. Keep on keeping at what you love, and you'll find that someday, soon enough, you will rise up, yeah. Taxi back to the kitchen, talking to the driver about his wife and his children, on a run from a country where they put you in prison for being a woman and speaking your mind. And she looked in his eyes in the mirror and he smiled. One conversation, a single moment, the things that change us if we notice when we look up sometimes. They said I would never make it, but I was built to break the mold. The only dream that I've been chasing is my own. So I sing a song for the hustlers trading at the bus stop, single mothers waiting on a check to come, young teachers, student doctors, sons on the front line knowing they don't get to run. This goes up to the young. Find that someday soon enough you will rise up, yeah. Soon enough, you will rise up, yeah. Chains at our feet, like a fire we're burning free, blazing a trail, no roads. We're gonna follow that golden soul. Something is pulling us out to the edge. They tell us not to go